Here are the top stories for today, September 22, 2020. President Duterte is all set to deliver his very first address to the United Nations General Assembly. Vice President Leni Robredo is said to be blind and deaf to periodic assessment of the pandemic. The PCOO lauds the House panel approval on Media Workers Welfare Act. And the Department of Education started airing their TV lessons. Good day, I'm William Theo. Welcome to the PNA Newsroom. President Rodrigo Roa Duterte is all set to deliver his very first address to the United Nations General Assembly. He is expected to speak at around 3 o'clock tomorrow morning, Wednesday, Philippine time. Presidential Assistant for Foreign Affairs Robert Borges said the president may touch on the wide range of topics, including the global response to COVID-19 pandemic and peace and security, including terrorism and geopolitical developments in the Asia-Pacific. Duterte may also address concerns between the U.S. and China's rivalry in the South China Sea and the Philippines' arbitral win against China. Among those who will speak are President Donald Trump of the USA, President Xi Jinping of China, President Vladimir Putin of Russia, and President Emmanuel Macron of France. South Cotabatos' innovative COVID-19 contact tracing system will be showcased in an International Leaders Summit this coming Thursday in line with the United Nations General Assembly. Jennifer Britannia, head of the Provincial Planning and Development Office, said the contact tracing system was chosen by the UN-supported Open Government Partnership as among the 8 best practices in the world in terms of open response and recovery efforts against the disease. The system was launched by the provincial government in June and functions as an electronic or digital logbook. Through the quick response or QR-coded identification cards, it logs and tracks the movement of registered residents in establishments, offices, and even in local events and activities, making the tracking and identification of close contacts of COVID-19 patients faster. The app is now being replicated in other areas in Region 12. The Department of Health, or DOH, recommends strict regulation on the prices of COVID-19 swab testing in the country. It urges Malacanang to issue an executive order that will mandate the DOH and the Department of Trade and Industry to cap the prices through administrative policies.
Napansin na nga po natin itong mga iba't iba, no? Differential pricing across the different laboratories in the country. And nakikita nga rin po natin yung malaking difference, no, between laboratories as to how much a swab testing cost. Bakit ba executive order ang hinihingi natin? Kasi ngayon meron ho tayong batas. Ito pong batas na ito, nakasaad po dyan yung price ceiling for medicines. Pero hindi po nakasama kasi yung for diagnostics and even professional fees. So that is what we have tried to study.
The Philippine Overseas Employment Administration has issued guidelines that would assure the protection and benefits of Filipino seafarers. Under the guidelines, a seafarer who signed an employment contract but cannot be deployed from the point of hire due to COVID-19 reasons should be provided with accommodation and food at the employer's cost unless provided by the government until the seafarer is deployed or returned home and even until the contract cancellation. A Filipino worker who is deployed but becomes stranded during his transit should be paid basic pay, accommodation, food and medical benefits at the employer's cost until the seafarer joins the vessel. Seafarers who completed the period of contractual service on board and who is ashore but cannot be repatriated should still be provided with basic pay, accommodation, food, and medical benefits. When a seafarer is under quarantine, the employer should also provide all the cost on the accommodation and food unless these are provided by the government. Employers will be allowed to recover any associated cost on the provision of assistance and benefits in accordance with the employment contract or the collective bargaining agreement. President Rodrigo Duterte lashed out on critics, saying the national government was not doing enough in its COVID-19 response. He fired back at Vice President Leni Robredo, who earlier said there is a lack in the system and comprehensive plan in the government's COVID-19 response.
Now, you might be hearing of critics and yung walang magawa that we are not doing enough. Ano mang enough na gusto ninyo? May ospital, may kama, at may punerarya. Nandyan lahat. Ano pa man ang gusto ninyo? Huwag kayong maniwala dyan mga itong dilawan. Lalo na, I hate to mention her name, but to si Leni, kung anong pinagsasabi. The only thing that we can do really is to wear a mask, wear a face mask, and that's it, and wait for the vaccine. It's COVID-19 equals vaccine. Huwag na ninyong palakihin ang problema.
Again, she's playing blind and deaf to the fact that there is periodic reporting. All you have to do is to go to the webpage of the DEPED. All she has to do is to consult the regular reports being submitted by the President.
President Duterte appealed to healthcare workers not exempted from the deployment ban to stay in the country a bit longer and serve fellow Filipinos. Duterte earlier allowed healthcare workers with perfected contracts as of August 31 to work overseas.
Hindi ko naman kayo, I do not have anything against you, but sana yung iba naman will have the spirit and the fervor to serve the Filipino people, because we also need help and we have a crisis also to deal with. Those who want to go out, pwede na ho. Pero naiwan naman, sana tagal-tagal na lang muna ninyo until after this COVID-19 will pass. It will come to pass. Sigurado ako.
Have you been to the White Sand Manila Bay? The crowd of visitors on weekend flocked to the segment of Manila Bay shoreline where photos and videos showing people standing close to each other circulated on social media. As such, Malacanang is appealing to the public to strictly follow the social distancing rule. Ermita Police Station Commander Lieutenant Colonel Ariel Caramoan was relieved from his post over his failure to enforce physical distancing rules on visitors to the White Sand Beach. PNP Joint Task Force COVID Shield Commander Lieutenant General Guillermo Eleazar said Caramoan could have prevented the quarantine protocol violations at the Manila Bay if there were prior planning and regular monitoring of the situation in the area. Presidential spokesperson Harry Roque appealed to the public to observe physical distancing as a safety precaution against COVID-19.
Panawagan lang namin sa taong bayan, the surest way po para kayo magkaroon ng COVID, huwag kayong mag-social distancing. Kung po pwede po, 5 minutes per group lang dyan, sapat na po yan para singgutin ang hangin at saka mag-picture-picture, mag-selfie-selfie.
PCOO Secretary Martin Andanar lauds the approval of Media Workers Welfare Act by the House Committee on Labor and Employment. The PCOO and the Presidential Task Force on Media Security, or PT-FOMS, have strongly been pushing for the passage of the Media Workers Welfare Act, which aims to provide media workers with security and protection and also uplifts their economic welfare, benefits, and skills. House Assistant Majority Leader and ACT-CIS Party List Representative Nina Caduran's House Bill number 2476 hurdled the House panel after 2 hours of making final refinements to the measure. Caduran, a former broadcast personality, referred to the measure as her pet bill given her work background. Under the bill, media workers who are assigned to cover dangerous and hazardous events or situations shall be given an additional 500 pesos daily pay. Death and disability benefits amounting to 200,000 pesos shall also be awarded to affected media workers. Still to come, the Department of Education started airing their TV lessons, and a business group wants to implement the no QR code, no entry policy. More on these when the PNA Newsroom continues.
Sa matinding laban natin sa Coronavirus Disease 2019, sugpuin din natin ang pagkalat ng fake news. Huwag magbahagi ng impormasyon na hindi tiyak ang pinagmulan. I-check mabuti ang source ng balita. Kumuha lamang ng impormasyon mula sa mga official channel ng Department of Health. Huwag magpadala sa maling balita, basta't sama-sama at laging handa. Kaya natin to. Isang paalala mula sa DOH, PCOO, KBP at ng himpilang ito. Alamin kung paano ang tamang pagsusuot ng surgical mask. Una, hawakan ang mask sa strap at siguruhing natatakpan nito ang inyong bibig at ilong. Tandaan, ang may kulay na bahagi ng mask ang dapat nasa labas. Ito lamang ang tamang paraan ng pagsuot nito. Ihulma ang nose piece o maliit na metallic strip ayon sa hugis ng inyong ilong. Iwasan ang paghawak sa inyong ilong at bibig. Kung marumi na ang mask, hubarin ito gamit ang strap at itapon ito sa isang basurahan. Siguruhin ang maayos na paghuhugas ng kamay gamit ang sabon at tubig. Ang surgical mask ay dapat gamitin ng mga pasyenteng may sakit sa baga o mga taong mayroong ubo, sipon at lagnat, mga nag-aalaga sa mga may sakit, at mga healthcare at frontline workers. Maaari ring magsuot nito kung kayo ay pupunta sa matataong lugar. Basta't sama-sama at laging handa. Kaya natin to. Isang paalala mula sa DOH, PCOO, KBP at ng himpilang ito.
You're still watching the PNA Newsroom. The first day of the 5-day test broadcast of DEPED's TV episodes is said to be successful. The department is airing 26 pilot episodes for their test run starting yesterday and will last until this Friday. More on this from Marita Moahe.
The DEPED TV production team is full force in making TV content for the students. The Department of Education is targeting at least 220 episodes per week, covering all the subject areas in the most essential learning competencies. This will be dubbed in all major dialects, especially those covering lessons for kinder to grade 3. The partner channels that will air the DEPED TV episodes include IBC 13, Solar TV, Signal TV, GSAT, PTV4, Planet Cable, Philippine Cable and Telecommunications Association, Gracia LMP, Mabuhay Pilipinas TV, and GMA Network.
So, pagdating ng October 5, you can expect na magkakaroon tayo ng 130 episodes per week of TV lectures na lalabas sa ating mga major channels. No? Ito ay para lang sa mga major subjects. Hindi pa namin kaya sa kasalukuyan ma-produce ng mga episodes para sa lahat ng subjects. Pero pagdating ng January 2021, if not earlier, we expect na kakayanin na namin mag-produce ng mga 220 episodes per week. In terms of production site, meron kaming 5 operational studios dito sa Metro Manila. Sa kasalukuyan, may sineset up pa kaming isa. So by the next week siguro, maging 6 na ito. Meron din kaming 18 public schools na napag-usapan na. We already arranged yung mga logistics with these 18 public schools. Naggagawa din kami ng mga shooting sa ating mga heritage sites, yung Intramuros, yung Luneta Park, saka yung National Museum. And as I believe next week, meron din kaming isang team na pupunta dun sa Baguio para shoot din ng mga episodes dun. Para yung ating mga kabataan, kahit hindi sila makapagbisita ng mga museums ngayon, makikita nila virtually sa ating mga TV episodes. Ngayon, binibuild up din namin yung production capability ng mga outside Metro Manila. No? So sa ngayon, merong mga 24 divisions that are being developed.
Meanwhile, the Department of Science and Technology said it will ask local electronics companies to mass produce a digital TV receiver that the agency is currently testing. Under the DOST's Rural Sync project, a prototype digital TV receiver can be connected to a computer to receive digital files such as books, educational videos, audio lectures, among others. These files can be displayed on a computer or tablet free of charge using a TV frequency of an existing TV transmitter. The process is called data casting. DOST Secretary Fortunato de la Peña said the Rural Sync project aims to explore the use of various wireless technologies based on TV broadcast signals in updating educational electronic materials and other multimedia content in remote areas. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Marita Muaje.
The Bicol party list has started consulting state universities and colleges in Bicol region to help boost their existing internet connectivity for their online classes. Bicol Representative Elizalde Co said they propose to upgrade their connectivity from internet up to the software and technology. He added that schools must upgrade their information technology capabilities to be able to adapt to the rising demand for connectivity amid the pandemic. Bicol has also provided free internet access to students of Bicol University through its Wi-Fi Mo Sagot ng Aksyon Ko program as it shifts from classroom to internet medium of teaching. Meanwhile, another Bicol lawmaker, Representative Alfredo Garbin, lauded the decision of President Duterte on Saturday to retain the 1-meter physical distancing among commuters in public transportation. He said compromising public health standard by relaxing physical distancing will add to the pandemic problem. The Negros Oriental Chamber of Commerce and Industry plans to implement the no QR code, no entry policy in business establishments to help ease contact tracing measures in relation to the COVID-19 threat. Dumaguete-based businessman Edward Du, Central Visayas Regional Governor of the Philippine Chamber of Commerce and Industry, said the business sector is pushing to gradually eliminate the use of pen and paper for contact tracing purposes. Du said this will result in a faster and convenient way to locate contacts of suspect or confirmed COVID-19 cases. He added it will also benefit the public as they no longer have to stand and wait in long queues at establishments, stores, supermarkets, and even banks. Du said the Department of Trade and Industry will be the enforcer of this particular endeavor and hopes that the agency will soon commence this practice in November. Environment officials released 25 green sea turtle hatchlings into the wild in Batanes. Meanwhile, a mini jeepney travels around Baguio City to promote tourism. More on these and other news from the provinces from Chris Mundo.
The Department of Environment and Natural Resources in Batanes on Monday released 25 green sea turtle hatchlings along Pahanabneban Beach in Basco, Batanes. The 25 hatchlings were discovered Sunday night, September 20, while conducting regular monitoring at the nesting site identified along the area. These were consequently released at noon the next day after documentation to avoid stressing the species. The area was identified as a nesting site after the first batch of hatchlings was discovered on August 11. In Baguio City, a mini jeepney made a trip through the city streets to bring smiles to locals. Ronald Tontontan, who made a jeepney in 2015, said that he wanted to revive the Trip ni Jeepito campaign to help boost the local government's efforts to breathe life back to the city's tourism sector, which was greatly affected by the pandemic. Tan designed Jeepito to become the smallest Philippine jeepney, which measures 92 inches in length, 42 inches in width, and 55 inches in height. Before the pandemic, Jeepito served to deliver donations to orphanages and the homeless, and at the same time, make people smile as it moves around the city. Meanwhile, the Philippine Information Agency in Central Visayas has announced its new weekly radio program dubbed as Kasayuran with DYAR Sunshine Radio Cebu. The one-hour radio program will initially air on September 23 and every Wednesday thereafter from 3:30 to 4:30 p.m. and will be anchored by Jim Ray Biosa and co-hosted by the PIA-7. Kasayuran will be live-streamed on the official Facebook pages of PIA-7 and DYAR. The program will focus on peace and development initiatives of the government, such as COVID-19 initiatives and the ending of local communist armed conflict. PCOO Secretary Martin Andanar commended the partnership as it underlines the fundamentals of disseminating truthful information. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Chris Crismundo.
In our business news, the government has collected about 131 billion pesos worth of taxes until the middle of September from the implementation of the fuel marking program. Data from the Department of Finance showed that the bulk of the collections are made by the Bureau of Customs, amounting to 112 billion pesos. The revenues came from duties and taxes collected from 20 oil companies from September 2019 until September 17, 2020. Excise taxes collected by the Bureau of Internal Revenue from December 2019 until September 2020 amounted to 18.82 billion pesos. About 75% of the marked fuel are from Luzon-based oil companies, followed by 20% from Mindanao and 5% from Visayas. Fuel marking is one of the government's solutions to address oil smuggling, which hinders the collection of about 20 billion pesos worth of revenue a year. This program is a requirement under the Tax Reform for Acceleration and Inclusion, or TRAIN law. Up next, 40 Agusan del Norte indigenous peoples complete their livelihood training, and a wounded rebel was saved by soldiers. The PNA Newsroom returns after these reminders.
Tandaan ang tamang paraan ng paghuhugas at paglilinis ng kamay upang makaiwas sa iba't ibang karamdaman. Basain ng tubig ang mga kamay at sabunin. Unang sabunin ang mga palad at ang likod ng mga kamay. Kuskusin na maigi ang pagitan ng mga daliri at maging ang mga kuko. Isunod ang pagitan ng mga hinlalaki at kuskusin ng paikot ang mga dulo ng mga daliri sa magkabilang palad. Banlawang mabuti ang mga kamay sa malinis na tubig at patuyuin ang mga kamay gamit ang single-use towel o air dryer. Basta't sama-sama at laging handa, kaya natin to! Isang paalala mula sa DOH, PCOO, KBP at ng himpilang ito. Alamin ang tamang paraan ng pag-ubo upang mapigilan ang paglaganap ng Coronavirus Disease 2019. Ugaliing magdala ng panyo o tissue. Kung uubo o babahing, takpan ang buong ilong at bibig gamit ang panyo o tissue. Kung walang dalang panyo o tissue, maaaring gamitin ang braso na pantakip. Kung nakararamdam na kailangan umubo o bumahing, agad na dumistansya sa mga tao sa paligid. Huwag dumura kung saan-saan, gumamit ng tissue at itapon sa basurahan. Ugaliin ang paghuhugas ng kamay at paggamit ng alcohol o hand sanitizer upang mamatay ang mikrobyo. Basta't sama-sama at laging handa, kaya natin to! Isang paalala mula sa DOH, PCOO, KBP at ng himpilang ito.
Malacanang rejected the claim by human rights group Karapatan that the country is currently experiencing a de facto martial law under the leadership of President Rodrigo Duterte. Presidential spokesperson Harry Roque said the situation under Duterte administration is very different.
Alam niyo po, ako lumaki ako sa martial law. Nag-law school po ako, walang sariling batas, freedom constitution lamang. Ang masasabi ko, ibang-iba na po konteksto ngayon. Dati-rati po, naisasara ang Kongreso, naisasara ang Supreme Court. Ngayon po, walang ganyang kapangyarihan ang Presidente. At ang deklarasyon ng martial ngayon, pwedeng questionin sa Kongreso, pwedeng questionin sa hukuman. Dahil na po, natuto na tayo sa mapait na karanasan natin sa martial law noong 1970.
At least 40 indigenous people belonging to the Mamanwa tribe in Quicharao, Agusan del Norte completed livelihood skills training on Sunday. The 5-day training was conducted by the Technical Education and Skills Development Authority and the Army's 29th Infantry Battalion. Of the 40 IP participants from Zapanta Valley, 13 have completed haircut training, while 27 completed their course in manicure and pedicure. The training was supervised by TESTA Provincial Director Ray Cueva and vocational trainer Marlito Castro. 29 IB Commander Isagani Criste described the livelihood training as an investment to help them improve the Mamanwas and the future of their communities. Zapanta Valley is considered a peace and development zone where government interventions through Executive Order No. 70 are being implemented to end the local communist armed conflict. TESDA and 29 IB also facilitated a 4-day food processing training to 69 IP members composed of former rebels, women, and KAFGU members early this month. Tribal leaders in Lianga, Surigao del Sur hailed the completion and turnover of a school for indigenous people. The DEPED IP Schools of Living Traditions in Sitio Simawao was formally turned over to the Manobo tribe and the local government of Lianga on September 16 by Surigao del Sur Governor Alexander Pimentel. Another DEPED IP school was also handed over on September 16 in Sitio Locnodon, Barangay Mahaba, Marihatag Town. The DEPED accredited IP schools in Lianga and Marihatag will replace the CNT-linked Tribal Filipino program in Surigao del Sur schools and the Alternative Learning Center for Agricultural and Livelihood Development Incorporated. Lianga Manobo Tribal Chieftain Datu Constancio Duhak recognized the role of the military in the establishment of the school, including the Army's 544th Engineer Battalion. Datu Rico Maca, the tribe's town council representative in San Miguel Town, said the establishment of the IP schools show the government's sincere desire to address the root cause of insurgency in the area. Anti-drug agents collared a high-value target and seized from him over 350,000 pesos worth of shabu during a buy-bust operation in Banisilan, North Cotabato on Sunday. The Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency Region 12 identified the arrested suspect as Hanor Mokhtar of Barangay Manilagro, Wao, Lanao del Sur. PDEA said the suspect also claimed to be a member of the Moro Islamic Liberation Front, or MILF. PDEA agents backed by Banisilan policemen pounced on Mokhtar after an exchange took place between him and the poser buyer at a secluded section of Barangay Poblacion. Mokhtar yielded some 52 grams of shabu, a document associating himself with the MILF, and marked money. He will face violations of RA 9165 or the Comprehensive Dangerous Drugs Act of 2002. Quick-thinking soldiers saved the rebel wounded during clashes with the New People's Army in Barangay Minalbuang, Claveria, Misamis Oriental. The Army's 58th Infantry Battalion identified the captured New People Army's rebel as Arnel Ramos, a squad leader. Ramos was hit on his right thigh and right arm during the series of skirmishes on Sunday morning. Responding soldiers applied first aid to keep him stable before bringing him to a hospital. Meanwhile, government soldiers recovered several firearms, ammunition, and personal belongings of the rebels at the clash site. The wounded NPA combatant was turned over to the Army's 4th Infantry Division Hospital and is now recuperating. For the first time in 4 decades, Bacolod will not celebrate the world-famous Mascara Festival in October as the city continues to battle the rising cases of COVID-19. Mayor Evelio Leonarda issued Executive Order 62 on Monday, suspending the festival's public celebration and all related activities. Leonarda also said they will not issue any permit or license to operate any form of activities or events in connection with the 2020 Mascara Festival. Any permit or license that may have already been issued or granted before EO 62 is deemed revoked or canceled. Leonarda said this is to comply with the health and safety protocols in stemming the local spread of infections. He added that the fight of Bacolod against COVID-19 is a call for self-reliance in its partnership with the national government. Here now is the latest in our community billboard. Samar has lined up several activities to celebrate National Tourism Week and World Tourism Day 2020. The Cultural Mapping Workshop from September 22 to 25 will be participated by local tourism officers from the province, with the Jeepney Tours founder, Clang Garcia, taking clients to a culinary heritage journey on board a specially designed jeepney. The Virtual Trade Expo that runs from September 24 to 26 will be joined by Secret Kitchen of Samar in partnership with the Department of Trade and Industry, One Town, One Product. The expo features products of Samar's micro, small, and medium enterprises. In the virtual tour, dubbed as Samar Through the Lens, social media users can watch videos of different tourism sites in the province. The virtual tour will be simultaneously aired over the official Facebook page account of Samar Province and Spark Samar page on September 27. Here's another look at today's biggest stories. President Duterte is all set to deliver his very first address to the United Nations General Assembly. Vice President Leni Robredo is said to be blind and deaf to periodic assessment of the pandemic. The PCOO lauds the House panel approval on Media Workers Welfare Act. And the Department of Education started airing their TV lessons. Thank you for watching another episode of the PNA Newsroom. To check more news content, visit our webpage or head onto the Philippine News Agency's Facebook and Twitter accounts. For more stories about the government and how it serves Filipinos, look for these hashtags in all of our social media platforms and websites. We are shown on the pages of the PCOO and its attached agencies. Also, watch us on television on PTV4 and IBC13. And that's your daily dose of the biggest stories that you need to know. From the PNA Newsroom, I am William Theo. Good day and stay safe, everyone.